go ahead and put a second coat on my apples. Not a real thick coat, but just kind of clean them up some. I've left them kind of funky looking. But I am going to add just a little bit more red to my mixture because I want them not to look quite so bright. So I'm mixing a little bit more red and just doing a second coat to make sure that I have no white showing, kind of smoothing it out. Trying to on here kind of keep my paint lines paint strokes going with the shape of my individual apples. That way my creases kind of help create that apple. Onto the yellow bit. And also I noticed yesterday I left some white up here. This is definitely not one of my better paintings, but hey, we don't learn until we try, right? All right, so now while those dry, I'm going to go ahead, we're going to come back and add some highlights and shadows to that in a bit. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and using a small brush again and a wet one, I'm going to use some yellow on that, my brown to create a stem on each apple. And you can pick whichever way it goes up. No two stems are the same. Just like no two apples are the same. Sorry. I'm kind of making the top of them a little thicker, like a stem would be. And then what I'm going to use is my light green and my dark green. I'm going to put them in two separate wells. I am actually going to mix just the littlest amount of raw sienna in with that bright green. So just two little dots. If I need it greener, I'll add more green. But I want it to be more of an olive green. So if you can see that. And I'm going to use that olive green to make the bottom half of a leaf. Notice I'm just making the bottom half. I am not going to go all the way up because I'm going to use that darker to go up there. So I'm just kind of filling in. So over here, it's going to go around and behind that stem. Sorry, I'm trying to use the extra off my paintbrush, so that's why you don't see me using it off my paint tray right now. If you accidentally paint over your stem, don't worry about it. You can always go back. I'm gonna switch up my paintbrush for that green, the Hooker's green. And you're just finishing out and kind of blending into that green. If you need to switch back and forth, switch back and forth. You're gonna get that shadow and that highlight then out of these. And of course, that's gonna be my best one to blend. Might need to add just a little bit on that. Sometimes it just depends on how much of each color you've had on your paintbrush. Get this dark on here and then go back in with my lighter shade. And I'm gonna blend that lighter shade up into that. I think part of that was I liked the brush with the lighter shade better. I'm not going to touch that one. That one turned out exactly how I wanted it to. And there we go. This one doesn't have quite the variant that I would like, but close enough. Some of mine got bigger than I wanted, but that's not too big of a deal. Then you can add a few blades of grass. I'm trying to use a very dry brush to make this grass, which definitely helps. I'm doing this lighter green first. Then I'm just going to kind of paint off some of that light green, and I'm going to get some dark green in there. Remember, grass is all sorts of different lengths. Unless you're getting down there cutting it precisely with a pair of scissors. I'm going to go over my apple a little bit here. Back to my light green a little bit there. There we go. So there's my grass. It's not perfect, but we're not all perfect. So let's see, how dry is my red? My red is a little sticky, so I'll come back and do highlights and shadows in a bit.